I think we'd better tell him. Yeah, I think you're right. There's definitely something wrong. Okay, I'll call him. Archangel Gabriel, come in, Gabriel. Yes, sir, we have a problem. Well, you might want to come over here. Yeah, he's coming. It hasn't moved at all, right? Since the crucifixion itself. No, not one bit. Probably should have checked it earlier. I didn't even think to. Me either. Hey, fellas, what's up? Yes, sir. Jesus is still registering as completely dead, but God's fury over man's sin and iniquity hasn't diminished at all. It isn't moving. Hey, this can't be right. That should be way down by now. What is it, Sunday morning? Almost, sir. Still the middle of the night. A day and a half in. It doesn't look good. It should be halfway to zero by now, right? There's not even a hint of clemency here. This could be bad. Actually, that dip back there, what was that? Looks like an Israelite had a bad case of the hemorrhoids and figured he was being punished by the Lord for something, so he ritually killed a goat and... Right, and that did placate God's anger a little bit, temporarily. Yeah, but a goat never keeps it down for that long. Alright, look, let's check a few things. Can you bring up details on the anger level? Yeah, there we are. Ooh, he's still at peak anger. Check Jesus' status again? Yep, complete separation from himself. But it hasn't worked. I knew it. I knew this wouldn't work. I told him again and again, making yourself human in order to sacrifice yourself unto yourself to appease yourself won't work. Sacrifice, blood, death. Why does it always have to be death anyway? And why would your own death be so impressive to yourself? He decides that the only sacrifice that's good enough for himself is himself, so he becomes his own sacrifice and offers himself to himself. Of course it won't work. It's so friggin' stupid. Oh, God. Yeah, Gabriel, God is just. The price of sin must be paid. What? Isn't that what they told you? Well, yeah, I was told that Jesus is doing this voluntarily out of love and grace. Oh, stop kidding yourself, guys. How do you pay yourself for something? And even if he could, he planned on getting better in a few days anyway. So at best, he's really only kind of renting the price of man's sin to himself for the weekend. It's freaking ridiculous. Of course it hasn't worked. I knew it wouldn't. Well, when you actually think about it, I was just afraid to admit it to myself. So, sir, what happens now? Well, the central pillar of this whole Jesus operation is the failure I was afraid it would be. I think basically we've got to call it all off and just do the best we can to cover it up. Whoa, but Monday was meant to be a huge uncovering of God's truth. This whole 33 years was leading up to that. Yeah, but this was meant to be a victory over death. And if he's still burning with anger about sin, then people are going to go on dying, aren't they? I mean, who's going to believe that he's conquered death if everyone still keeps on dying the way they always have? People might still be able to accept that death is defeated in a kind of delayed way. Oh, come on, that's crazy talk. Look, he's blown it. We just have to cancel everything we had planned. You want to cancel the resurrection? Well, no, Jesus is going to come back, obviously, but just cancel all the publicity, all the events and the formalities. Is everybody getting this? Cancel the supernatural live HD holographic broadcast of the resurrection itself to every living person on the planet. And cancel the archiving of the footage that was going to make it provable to every human who ever lived henceforth. And look, I hate to do this, but no, you're not. We have to. Cancel the official launch of the new covenant too. No, we only just got him to agree to all those negotiations. I know. Jesus has been talking about being nice to each other and to love your neighbors and all. I know, but everything else has to be cancelled if we're ever going to have a shot at getting this right. But why? Look, if we can get the world to just forget about Jesus, we'll have another shot at it again in a few generations. But look, maybe people will accept that he's forgiven sin, but just, it hasn't quite gone into effect yet or something. Yeah, okay, forget it. That's just stupid. But do the laws have to stay the same? Well, look, we can't do any proper publicity now because it would make God look silly. And without a proper launch clearly announcing the specifics of the new covenant, the humans would be left in a real moral mess of trying to figure out a mix of the old covenant morality with their very limited understanding of the new stuff that Jesus has been leaking for us. And I don't want to risk that. So I guess we just sit back till Monday then? Yeah, well, there'll be a lot of reorganizing to do between now and then. Yeah, poor humans, eh? Suffering's going to continue on Earth after all, the same as always. Kind of embarrassing to think that he could fix it all by sacrificing himself unto himself. Hang on. Is it daylight in Jerusalem yet? No, sir, not yet, but soon. It's still dark? Yeah. Okay, this is our chance. Let's get him out now. Now? It's the perfect opportunity before the sun comes up and people start snooping around that tomb he's been in. I think if we get him out now, people might just assume that Joseph of Arimathea came back and moved the body to a proper tomb somewhere during the night. Well, are we ready for this? Yep. Look, this is it. Battle stations, everyone. I'm ordering a full extraction here before the sun comes up, which only gives us a few minutes. Quick, I want Jesus out of there and back up here without being seen so history can just forget this whole thing and we can start setting ourselves up to get it right next time and save humanity from hell properly. Look, I'm going to need 2 volunteers to go down and get Jesus. You can count on us, sir. All right, get going then. Okay, I'll pull some strings up here to get Jesus out of death early. It shouldn't be too hard since he's immortal. You've got to meet him on Earth, not let anyone see you or him, and bring him back. Simple as that. We'll mop up the rest afterwards, okay? Quick, you don't have much time before the sun comes up. Let's go! Jesus, wake up. Lord, can you hear us? Jesus, wake up.
Oh, where am I?
You're still in the tomb.
Did it work? Did my sacrifice of me appease me?
Well, Lord, you tell us.
Well, let's see. I still feel... Hang on. There's still an unquenchable need to have each and every one of them cast into a scalding lake of fire for eternity after they die. What's going on? I was meant to feel nothing but forgiveness.
The mission was a failure, Lord. And Gabriel is super annoyed. He said he told you it wouldn't work.
Whoa. I guess there's no buying off the creator of the universe then, eh? Even when it's yourself. Damn, what happens now?
Well, it means that the world pretty much stays the same it's been since the fall, and you stay unable to abide with sin.
What?
Except in the sense that you're here on Earth abiding with it. Yep, and we're getting you out of here early, Lord. The whole thing's cancelled, the broadcast and all the publicity and celebrations. Even the announcement of the new covenant between you and mankind is being postponed for a few generations.
Hang on, how's that going to play out? You guys told me to start leaking all this new covenant stuff about being nice instead of all those laws that I gave them as my own father. If I don't go ahead with announcing the exact terms of that new covenant that you came up with, aren't they going to be a bit confused as to which commandments they're actually meant to follow?
Well, exactly, Lord. It'd be very confusing, and that's why we're hoping that just for now, all of your words won't be remembered.
What?
And that
You guys were the ones who wanted to replace all of my laws with new ones.
Yes. Look, we know all that, Lord, and it's why we've got to get you out of here now, quick as possible, okay? We can't do a proper launch of the new covenant anymore, and if you retain any kind of following despite that, then yes, they'll be stuck with this incomprehensible confusion of conflicting moral ideas, and they'll start picking and choosing bits from the old covenant that they like, and bits and pieces of your recent ideas if they like them more.
Picking and choosing their morality. That's quite interesting, because by what moral authority is anyone going to decide which of the things that I've been saying recently replace or retract any of the things I said previously unless I specifically and unequivocally say so at the launch?
Well, on no moral authority, Lord, that's the thing. People who believed in you wouldn't be able to agree with each other because so far you haven't been clear enough. And there's not going to be a launch, so don't worry about that, and let's just get
That's really fascinating. I mean, how would it play out based on only what I've mentioned here and there in the last few years?
Lord, let's not worry about hypotheticals.
No, really. What kind of things do you reckon they'd pick to keep, and what do you reckon they'd decide that I'd repeal?
Well, if the humans were choosing, I think generally they'd be inclined towards nicer and fairer laws that make life more pleasant for each other, don't you? I mean, they'd stop killing each other for petty, victimless crimes like Sabbath work. Do you reckon they would? It was in the Ten Commandments, man. That's pretty clearly against his eternal moral character. You reckon they'd stay concerned about Sabbath work? Sure, they wouldn't just drop everything from the Mosaic Law. I mean, sure, they'd drop slavery. Slavery, really, on their own. I can't see why they would drop that. Nah, come on, it's pretty obvious that Jesus would be anti-slavery. Love your neighbor and all that. I don't know about that. Jesus, what did you actually say about it?
Well, I said you can buy people and make them your own slaves for their whole life.
No, I mean as Jesus. What did you say in Jesus' form?
As Jesus, not much. I did talk about how some slaves really don't deserve to be beaten quite as badly as others, and told stories about slave owners throwing their slaves into prison to be tortured.
Right, but were you actually condemning it?
Well, no, I brought it up as an analogy of the kind of relationship that I have with humans. You see, I can pretty much do the same thing.
Okay, so you didn't get as far as saying no more slavery.
Yeah, it's tricky to say something like that in this cultural context.
Look, okay, I'd grant that his moral opposition to slavery is a little ambiguous, but he'd definitely not want them to treat homosexuals any different to anyone else anymore, and humans would get that. Really? Well, yeah, love your neighbor as yourself. How could you justify treating anyone differently just because of their preference in that regard? No, I think that Jesus still wants them stoned to death. Don't you, Jesus? That's not loving. Jesus said to love even your enemy. Okay, maybe not killing them, but it's still an abomination for a man to lie with a man, right, Jesus?
It's really interesting. They've really got a wide spectrum of commandments to pick and choose from, haven't they? And the funny thing is, if people wanted to replace any of the old covenant morality with the newer stuff, really they'd be using my objective morality to prove objectively that my previous objective morality was immoral.
What? Hang on, you've lost me.
Well, if they interpreted my objective moral instruction to love their neighbour as themselves as meaning that killing innocent people was immoral, wouldn't that mean that I'd commanded people to carry out immoral acts?
Look, they're not likely to admit that to themselves as such, but yes. Which is exactly why we need to get you out of here, Lord. Quick, come on, the sun's coming up.
I agree that it's an absolute mess, but that doesn't mean we have to cancel everything, really, does it? I mean, I think we should just carry on regardless. Maybe the less publicity, the better.
What? Hang on, but look, but the moral confusion you'd be leaving your followers in.
But that's covered too. Atheists.
What?
Well, they'll have someone to deflect all their moral confusion onto.
How?
Well, as long as my followers have got someone apart from themselves to accuse of picking and choosing, then they'll be able to feel a little bit better about the fact that they're doing it themselves.
Yeah, look, hold on. At least atheists will be able to be consistent when it comes to things like condemning practices such as stoning and burning people alive and child murder as bad morality.
Yeah, but the believers will be able to just say, but you don't have an objective moral source to base that on, and that'll win every argument.
That's a pathetic comeback, because the atheists will show the gaping holes in their basis for objective morality by forcing the believer to admit that the morality that they claim is objective and universal is simply contextual and cherry-picked.
But they won't admit it. That's the thing, see? They'll just say, but you don't have an objective moral source to base that on. It's the perfect comeback.
It's not perfect. It's crap and full of mind-bogglingly large holes. How can you not see that? Lord, you're describing an insane situation that we simply have to avoid. Come on, forget all of this and let's just get out of here. Gabriel must be freaking out by now.
No, I'm going to go ahead with the resurrection just without any of the publicity.
No, Lord, that would really not be in the best interest of humanity at this time. You'd end up needing to hurl most of them into a lake of fire for eternity if you do that.
Well, look, okay, I'll only completely prove my resurrection unto everyone in Jerusalem and Galilee, okay? No other nation or culture anywhere.
No.
Look, just one news conference so it gets attested to by multiple independent historical sources.
No.
Well, only in Jerusalem then.
No.
Well, just my disciples and a few others here and there.
No.
Oh, come on, lighten up. They'll hardly even recognize me. And none of them will even write it down.
Well, what's the point of doing
look,
it
you're
then?
getting ahead of yourselves. I just want to visit my disciples and show off my scars and stuff.
Hello, is anyone there?
Look out, someone's coming. Jesus, hide, disappear or something, quick. Hello there.
Who are you?
Lovely morning, isn't it? We're just hanging out here, really. It's
Where's Jesus' body?
yes, the body. Well, let's see. Lovely tomb, this, isn't it?
They've taken my Lord away, and I don't know where they've put him.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, the body's gone. Joseph of Arimathea, he came back. You see, may as well just go and get on with your life, then, eh? Nice guy, Jesus, wasn't he? Terrible shame what they did to him, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure the real Messiah will be along any time now. Look, just run along now. There you go. No.
Woman, why are you crying? Who is it you're looking for?
Sir, if you've carried him away, tell me where you've put him.
Mary.
Oh, Lord! Jesus! You didn't die after all!
No, I did.
You must
Yes,
have just
I did.
passed out.
No,
Perhaps you went
I was
into a
dead.
coma or something.
Really?
I thought you were dead. I thought you were dead, but
No,
you were
I
only
died.
asleep or something.
Look, go and tell my brothers, okay? And tell them that I was dead, okay? I was.
I've seen the Lord. I've seen the Lord, and he wasn't dead.
Yes,
He
I
didn't
was.
die.
Yes, I
He
was.
didn't die.
What?
I think you just started a really stupid religion, Lord.